So again, welcome back to me, welcome back to Thailand. True Roots out here from Thailand. I hope you're doing well. It is 1 Jan here in Thailand, which is Monday, and I'm back in my back kitchen. What's it called? My neighbours are in, etc. Still not finished this road out here at the moment, etc. So God knows, come on Thailand, get it together. Video of the day. My first video, of course, was the Manchester City ladies beating Chelsea 5-1 at home and doing what champions do, or champions elects do. And yesterday they put on a statement performance. The last week was the statement performance or sign of champions. This was a feeling of champions elect. So well done to the Manchester City ladies, and I'm so proud of them, etc. And it was so great, and it was really made me happy. Then I have to watch Man City Spurs. So first half, okay, a couple of hours later. So first half, we played okay. I thought we were okay. I think it wasn't perfect. There was a lot of mistakes, but second half it was the tale of two halves, as it were. I'm going to read an article from the Guardian newspaper rather than anything else to get a bit of context. I don't, I'm going to see what they have to say. I haven't read it myself, etc. I'm going to see what they have to say, but they're calling it tale of two halves. And to position to go down against, concede 2 goals. We didn't lose. And if we are aiming for the top 4, traditional sin, it's not a bad result really. But when you want to win the Premier League and you're going 2-0 up, you don't concede 2 goals. That's the reason why it feels like a loss rather than anything else. The mainstream Southern-based biased media are all going to talk about it, and I've got to keep away from that lot today, for instance. Because again, they're going to be patting the back of Spurs all the way today, and it's going to be annoying. And even though it's down to another VAR decision again for their first goal, it's just ridiculous, honestly. For instance, and we just get it every week now. Bad VAR decision, and unfortunately, we're going to get that amount of sympathy from the mainstream Southern-based biased media, and say, but what we need to do is to avoid these things by scoring, get into a point, get into a lead where we don't have to. If we get a Southern-based biased media, a refereeing decision or a VAR decision or whatever, or an injury, etc., it's not going to affect us too much. Unfortunately, what we didn't do is close out the game in the first half, which we should have done when we were all over the Spurs. Spurs were booing themselves at half time, and and this is where we find ourselves. So let's go and read about what the Guardian had to say about the game. And again, I'm just doing this because again I just want a bit of context. So City failed. Familiar tale of two halves for Man City. Spurs belated resolve. City, okay, right. There are times in football when it's glorious is silly. Times when your logic of your eyes and your experiences tells you one thing is happening, and then it turns out the reality is quite different. What seems at the break, as I thought it was going to be one of the easy wins, unexpectedly became a draw, and then a result that both ends of the table looked quite different at the final whistle. But it appears that they were going to look at half time. In the case of immutable but incompatible law running into each other, on one hand Spurs are terrible and have picked up only 10 points at home this season, but on the other, City have developed a habit of needlessly squandering points and somehow always do worse than expected against Tottenham. The consequences was the game that simultaneously made very little sense, but at the time was predictable. At least in the way it remains the true, but those fundamental principles. This fitting concern pattern for Manchester City, although they beat Leeds and Fulham, are very concerning. 5 goals in total in the second half of two games level at half time against the Rags. They lost 2-0 lead half-time against Brighton and Chelsea. That's what it felt like. It felt like the Brighton game. It really did. And Chelsea, and they conceded in the second. They won at first game at Brighton. There have been a clear trend this month of City conceding important goals at half-time. 7 points have been lost for the occasion of second-half goals this year alone. If they all had 7 points, City would be clear at the top of the table. So there you go. Losing these goals has lost us. We could have been top of the table. But Spurs this weekend were also thinking about half times and how different things looked. At half-time at Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening, West Ham led Chelsea 2-0. At half-time here, Spurs trailed 2-0. Had those results remained like that, Spurs would have been only 5 points from the drop zone, and it would have been increasingly difficult to maintain their belief that they are not in danger of the relegation battle. As it is, Chelsea's come back and Solanke's 2 goal, the gap is 9, and it feels like a lot less than like Spurs are sleepwalking into a dogfight. It wasn't just that City led at half-time, it was Spurs had been shambolic. They looked a team without resistance, without a clue. If the booing at half-time was related restraint, it can only been because so many fans were so numbed by what they had seen. And be fair, perhaps only because there was a recognition that it was not fair to judge Spurs when they have 11 players injured. From Spurs' point of view, the opening goal was exclusively limp. Jakub Bissouma was dispossessed on halfway by Bernardo Silva, and then Ryan Cherki, had been released by Erling Haaland, was given an extraordinary amount of time and space to measure up his cross shot. Vicario and into the bottom cross Vicario into the bottom corner. Thanks Feburary was obvious as he slammed to an environmental water carton to the ground, but Franks remained positive whenever the issues are personal and were ever a problem. Frank has had this was just a poor play by 2 players who should have been done better, or maybe they shouldn't haven't been. After all, Ruben Dragic recently recovered from an anterior crucial ligament injury. He's played only 7 minutes this season and hasn't played a game for 371 games. He had a nightmare first half, at one point sliding past Ryan Cherki as he chopped inside. But passing bobsleigh was the only vague interest in the game, but perhaps not unreasonable for the player who has also played so little in the past year. Bissouma similarly had not played for the club this season before coming off the bench at half-time in the home defeat against West Ham a fortnight ago. City's second was a facility as Dragonuc's long pass from nearby his byline was intercepted by Christian Romero, but somehow left with 2 to deal with. Silva slid in the square and Semenko finished a straightforward chance, and it was extremely easy. The sense was almost an early round cup tie. The bigger the holding, the big side holding the plucky underdogs at arm's length and then picking him off as and when. When Ronaldo did not re-emerge for the second half, the assumption that he wouldn't get any worse for Spurs, but the assumption was wrong. It wasn't only Dominic Solanke's involvement in the 2 goals, although that he did clear a reminder of what Spurs had been missing in absence of much of the season. Simmons also looked increasingly dangerous over the past weeks. Dragonuc settled, and Yo Polinia emerged as a dominant figure. And again, City buckled. Only 2 fine saves from Donnarumma, I think he did more than that, prevented them from a point. At the end, although City expected goals was more than their own, Tottenham will probably feel the draw was at least they deserved. What does it mean? Certainly, no one at Spurs could look at this in the first half and feel that much way of positivity. The injury list similar to can only inspire dread, but the least bite wasn't always being true in the recent past. So that's their take on the game. Right. So let's go to City. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. Honestly, come on, let's think about it. Okay, let's do the stats first. Let's do the lineups. But our lineups were what we presumed. I was happy to see Ryan Ignore getting a start, was going to left back, and I was happy to see O'Reilly in the centre. But I wanted to also see Omar Mamouche on, which he didn't play. Donnarumma, Krylov, Ignore, Nunes, Guy Hayes, Semenko, Silva, Ryan Cherky, Nicholas O'Reilly, and Omar Mamouche and Erling Haaland. Omar Mamouche came on for his usual 4 minutes, which is a waste of space. I think he came on because Rodri was on a yellow card and he looked like he was going to get sent off again. Phil Foden came on the 88th minute. I don't understand why I would have brought on Mamouche. Ryan Ignore came on the 70th minute for Gonzalez. Came off as Gonzalez. I think he was injured, but also was on a yellow card. On the bench we had James Trafford, Tiana Reinders, Ryan McAdoo, Omar Mamouche, Nathan Ake, Gonzalez, Foden, Lewis, and Max Elaine. So for instance, the stats, 40-60% to City in the possessions, shots off target, 8 by Man City, 1 by Spurs. On target, 6 by Spurs, 3 by Man City, and all that was in the second half by then. Corners 3-4 for Man City, 15-12 on the fouls, 3-4 on yellow cards, 7 yellow cards. I thought that referee was bad. I really did. I thought I thought he was crazy the way, for instance, he kept blowing. Every couple of minutes. The game didn't really have a start. I know there was some fouls, but again, for instance, I just thought it was a really scruffy game, as it really was. It never flowed in any way. The referee and of course the VAR decision against Mark Gahey for the Spurs' first goal. Again, another decision, and when Pep complains, he gets a yellow card. And I'm sure he'll be White and Jordan will certainly have a go at Pep today. City's game in 250 wears started game strongly through Ryan Cherky, Captain Bernardo showed a terrier-like treacherousness by pickpocketing Basuma before sliding the ball off to Erling Haaland, with a giant number supplying the fair-fueled Frenchman. Cherky edged closer and closer to the goal with centre-back Drugic dropping off before producing a clinical finish. City could have and should have been have another goal shortly after. Arlen raced through before trying to dedicate job lob the Spurs goalkeeper, but didn't go. I think he should have done better for that. But again, it could be down to confidence at the moment, etc. In the beginning of the season, that would have been a goal. Turkey went close, doubling on his team. Tale showed class and composure down the right to the dribble on his way into the shooting before seeing his final shot saved by brilliant Vasario, and they never got a corner. The City never got a corner by the stupid referee, and even though it was clearly not saved, it was a good save by Vicario. The talisman forward then turning away into a shot as the referee awarded the world goal kick. The Blues did get a second just before half time, and no more what we deserved after dominating first half display. Rodri intercepted the ball, Bernardo touched it into inside, and Semenko finished off in style. It was January, his 6th goal in his last 9 Premier League appearances. Tottenham's built up ahead of steam before the break, but pulling one back after the break. Conor Gallagher fired handsome over the bar. Gino Donnarumma and then showed his class, tipping it over Undogi's ferocious strike. Then left his channel at the host way back to encounter. They found their way, Solanke forcing home, although the Spurs forwards looked to have kicked the ball. He didn't thought to have. He did do it. Kicking the defender Mark Gay, but VAR ratified it after a check. They didn't check that, they just checked for offside. The host then levelled when Calagaro crossed for Solanke, who found his instinctive improvisation to beat Donnarumma. Crap, he didn't know it was coming, the ball just came over, he sticked out his back of his leg, etc., and he just had to do that. That was not planned, that was pure luck. The Italian race and then had to tip over the bar from Simons and Frank's side Idawinder. Sotia Reiners, Martin had moments later from a pinpoint Bernardo cross. So that's what I'm saying. Chiana Reinders, all I heard a lot of times from Chiana Reinders, so close from Chiana Reinders. Why didn't you have Mamouche on then for Reinders? I don't understand that. Okay, here Haaland and Rodri also forced the ball home. In a scramble box, but Tottenham managed to clear the danger when Reinders headed inches wide again after meeting Haaland's knockdown cross. Our number 9 then looked to be pulled to the ground. On more than one occasion, he was dragged to the ground, but it appears that it was dragged to the ground before the ball came in. I think that was the excuse by the appeal waved away. Both sides had a victory. The game moved on to 9 minutes and stoppage time, but there was no further scoring and it blew. Manager's verdict: we played well and good in the game, but they put more of the ball in behind, more players in the middle, and to attack more and more direct. But in general, it was a really good game, but unfortunately we could not win. What are you watching? What are you watching? You're talking about the first half only. It's a setback, but we have to be there. Yes, move forward. 14 games, a lot of points to play for, and we're on to the next one, which is Liverpool. We've got Semenko reaction. We got more games. There's 14 to go. We're 6 points behind. It's not the end. We have to keep going. Anything like that happening. 14 to go. We might lose a couple of games here, and we might win a few. Dramatic changes. We have to see what happens. Everyone is visibly frustrated, and we'll go down. We go again. First half we played really well. Just getting the ball, keeping the ball, and then drawing them out. We did really well, and a few chances. The mentality was to do the same thing again. Second half we didn't have it, and they dominated. Rodri's reaction: it was a tough game. I think it was fair. We deserved a little bit more. I think it was, to be fair, we deserved a little bit more. At the end, what happened was, in the last games we didn't control the ball well in the second half. I'm very proud of the team. Sometimes it's difficult to come on to these kind of stadiums without help from anyone. I'm proud of them, and the effort what we did. We just need to improve things as we move on. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack, and again we've got Newcastle coming up on Wednesday, and they've had a bad game they've had a bad time. They drew with PSG midweek, but they got beat by Liverpool, who's our next opponent. So they're not in a great form, so that's not too bad. But we're also at home. So let's see if we can get down to the final. But we've got to do better. We've got to do better in so many ways in our second half performance. VAR, we've got to basically score 3 goals. So any VAR decisions we are going to get against us is not going to affect us. So this is one of the points. Second half, we need to be more control of the game. Ryan Cherky, he went down. He was supposed to go off for Reinders, and then he got up and started playing again, and then went down again. What was wrong with him? I don't understand. I don't know what's wrong with him. And is he injured? I'm unclear. So, but there's issues, and we can't say that we ain't. When I look at the ladies, and I look at the how I can see champions elect, I'm not seeing it from City. I still back Man City to win the league, but we need to do better. Can we do better? Yes. I've listening to LB and his podcasts and his panels, and some guys have gone way over the deep end, calling Man City the worst team, the worst players, the worst player that is shocking, whatever. And that is not helpful. That is also not true. And for instance, again, again, we were good in the first half, bad in the second half, and we've got to address that issue. There's a lot to think about. And I'm disappointed. I was hoping for a double big weekend, and hopefully City men would follow the ladies, etc. I'll be sat here smiling. But yeah, disappointing. We didn't lose. Okay, but if we want to win the title, we've got to do better, and so I am disappointed. So I am going to go away now and just think more. I'll talk to you tomorrow about everything else. I'll put the player ratings on the, of course, on my website. What's it called? Facebook. The only person I can give it to is Bernardo Silva. Played well. So it's good enough, played okay, for instance, and Donnarumma, of course, but other than that, for instance, there was a lot of question marks, and Ryan Cherky in the first half, disappointed, very disappointed, but I need to pick myself up off the ground, go and watch the ladies again, and then go and re-watch the men again and find out and have a chat tomorrow and see if we can make some sense of where we are going. But at the moment, etc., it's just frustrating. Guys, we're going to leave you a True Blue tie from Thailand. We have 14 games to go. It's not over until it's over. And again, for instance, we will be points behind. 6 games to go when we beat United to win the Premier League, and we wear our own. So it's still plenty of games. Plenty of things of this this roller coaster, Premier League, going on at the moment. So, look at Aston Villa, lost it again at home, again 1-0 again. So, for instance, and everybody's pitching them to win the league. So, but we go again Wednesday. But I'll have a chat to you tomorrow and see if we're getting more thoughts about what we're doing wrong. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave you a True Blue tie. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking. Sorry about the surroundings, but needs must. And I will speak to you tomorrow. Hopefully, we can be a bit more positive, guys.